All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Buckle up for what could be one of the best series of these NBA playoffs when the Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns get it on in the Western Conference semifinals, which begin tomorrow. Both of these teams have championship aspirations, but only one will have what it takes in order to make the Western Conference Finals. Now, en route to reaching the NBA Finals 2 years ago, the Suns swept the Nuggets in the second round. Although both of these teams are much or somewhat different than the Suns, definitely more than the Denver Nuggets. There's going to be plenty of star power on display in this series. I want to start with the Nuggets big man, Nikola Jokic, the reigning two-time NBA MVP and also the walking triple-double. You think about Jokic and what he has meant to this team over the past couple of years, and then you look at Denver's first round win over the Minnesota Timberwolves, where in the 5 game set, the Joker averaged more than 26 points per game, about 12 and a half boards, and 9 assists. You look at him, he is once again going to be a factor in this series as DeAndre Ayton and the rest of Phoenix's bigs are definitely going to have their hands full. That is not to take away from what the Phoenix Suns can do. You're talking about Devin Booker, who, for the last couple of years has been one of the more prolific scorers of the basketball in the NBA. And now the Suns went out there just prior to the trade deadline and got Kevin Durant. And we know what Kevin Durant can do, whether it was during his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder, Golden State Warriors, Brooklyn Nets, or now the Phoenix Suns. It does not take KD that long to get it going. And if KD gets into a rhythm from the outside, it's going to be a long night and possibly a long series for these Denver Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets, aside from the Joker, they have plenty of firepower themselves. You think about Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., what they bring to the table when they are healthy. And of course, playoff Jamal Murray is a little bit different. I mean, you go back and when the Nuggets got to the Western Conference Finals during the playoff bubble in 2020, Jamal Murray made a name for himself. And so far in these playoffs, he's Denver's leading scorer as Minnesota simply did not have an answer for him in round number one. Michael Porter Jr. is a guy at times, you know what? If you don't pay attention to him at the offensive end of the floor, he can get you. So this is something that the Suns have to factor in for as well. And going back and forth with the talent on both of these teams. Chris Paul, one of the better point guards in NBA history, definitely one of the better floor generals of this era. And he definitely knows how to get everybody involved. And then you have DeAndre Ayton. And I think DeAndre Ayton, has always been a guy who could fly under the radar. And I think he's going to fly under the radar. He has been flying under the radar even more after the Suns acquired Kevin Durant earlier this season, because, of course, with KD, Devin Booker, and CP3, you can't pay attention to everybody. And DeAndre Ayton is a guy who can get to you. You look at the depth that the Denver Nuggets have, both in their starting lineup as well as coming off of that bench. A guy like Aaron Gordon, KCP, Bruce Brown, and Jeff Green. And even though, he didn't play a lot in the first round series, you got to pay attention to a guy like Reggie Jackson, because Reggie Jackson is one of those guys. Again, he can come off the bench and he can get you a very quick 15 points. Now, for me, we talked about this going back to when the Suns got KD just prior to the trade deadline. They had to give up a lot of their depth in order to get him. And at some point, that depth could hurt the Phoenix Suns, or that lack of depth, rather, could hurt the Phoenix Suns. Will this be the series where it happens? Denver is a much deeper team than Phoenix. Now, offensively, Denver's going to bring it. They led the NBA in field goal percentage during the season. However, on the flip side, Phoenix was sixth in opponents' field goal percentage during the regular season. Something's got to give. Both of these teams can score in bunches, and it's going to come down to which team can stay healthy. Over the last couple of years, both of these teams have injury histories with their biggest players. Of course, with the Denver Nuggets, they missed Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. for all of last year. We know about KD, we know about CP3, we know about Booker. These guys are when they're on, they're on. But at the same time, both of these teams are just an injury away. You look at the coaches, Michael Malone and Monty Williams. I don't think that Michael Malone gets enough credit for being a solid NBA coach. Monty Williams does. He got the Suns to the finals a couple of years ago. He has the potential to do it again. But Michael Malone, I don't think that he gets enough credit for getting this team together on a night in and night basis. You're going to, like, one thing is this. I think this right here, as far as series goes, is a classic toss up because both of these teams are defined by their stars. You look at Nikola Jokic, obviously, he is the face of the Denver Nuggets franchise. And the bottom line is the Phoenix Suns are not going to stop him. It comes down, if you're the Suns, it comes down to stopping the guys around him, most notably Jamal Murray. Because if Jamal Murray gets going, this is going to be a long series for the Suns. On the flip side, you look at what Devin Booker and Kevin Durant can do on the perimeter. And for me, the Suns really didn't get tested. They got tested, but they didn't get tested in round number one versus the Clippers. You look at it, Phoenix didn't have that get off, if you will, offensively in game one of that series when Kawhi Leonard was healthy. And it makes you wonder what could have been for the Clippers if both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were healthy. Obviously, that was not the case. And of course, once Kawhi Leonard was lost to injury, Devin Booker was off to the races in that series. On the flip side, for the Nuggets, they really weren't tested against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I say this because the Timberwolves have talent, but execution at times was a problem for Minnesota. It's not going to be the same animal, if you will, when the Denver Nuggets go up against the Phoenix Suns. To me, again, this series is definitely going to be defined by the stars. Nikola Jokic for Denver, KD, and Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns, but then it's going to come down to the people around them. Again, you can't let Jamal Murray get off. And if he gets off as well as Jokic, it's going to have open things up for more for players such as Michael Porter Jr. as well as Aaron Gordon. And on the flip side, for Phoenix, you know what? A guy like CP3, we keep saying this might be the year. This might be the year. Maybe this is the year for Chris Paul to get that elusive first NBA championship. I'll tell you like this, in my opinion, if it's a short series, the advantage goes to Phoenix. But as the series progresses, if we're talking about a series that could go 6 or 7 games, the advantage, in my opinion, goes to the Denver Nuggets. Why? They are the deeper team. And at some point, the Suns' lack of depth is definitely going to catch up to them, and it's definitely going to hinder them. You go back to the first round series win over the Clippers, both Kevin Durant and Devin Booker averaged more than 43 minutes per game in that contest. As good as they are, even the great players wear down at some point. So that's going to be interesting right there. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be a nip and tuck, back and forth affair throughout. But when it's all said and done, I am going to take the Nuggets to advance in 7 games to the Western Conference Finals. And the biggest reason for me in giving Denver the slight edge is their depth and Phoenix's lack of depth. And I think at some point, even if Phoenix gets past Denver, but at some point in these playoffs, the Suns' lack of depth will catch up to them. And in my opinion, it happens here in the Western Conference semis. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.